Hello YouTube. So today I'm going to do a review on the Korean vegan cookbook. I really like this cookbook. I think it's really interesting and has a lot of cool recipes, all of which are Korean influenced or a Korean fusion of some kind, or just something that she has had in her life and that has impacted her. That's another thing that I really like about this book, is that it kind of tells a story. So she tells about her past, her family, especially her grandma and her mom and her dad. And she goes into a lot of personal stories about her life and how food has impacted it. So all of the intros aren't just generic intros about the food. They actually tell how that food impacted her life and why she chose to put that in her cookbook. And another thing that I really like about this book is the photography. Everything is really well staged. And kind of moody, and she also has pictures that illustrate her past as well, which I find really cool. Nothing in this cookbook feels like it's filler or something that you wouldn't want to try at least once. I know I'm definitely going to try everything in this cookbook and definitely go back and make all of my favorite recipes time and time again. So she breaks up the book into 9 different parts, starting with the basics, breads, side dishes, kimchi and salads, soups and stews, noodles and pastas, bar and street foods, main dishes, and sweets. I made napa cabbage kimchi, mung bean sprout stir fry, fermented soybean stew, rice cake stir fry, and pocky sticks. If you live in an area that doesn't have a lot of access to Asian ingredients, then I suggest looking at asianmart.com. I use this site to buy mine, and everything is pretty reasonably priced, and they have a discount code often. The items came in about a week for me, so you have to order a little ahead of time of when you want to use them. The first recipe I made was the kimchi. However, I lost the footage from when I was making it, but it turned out super well. Kimchi is the one recipe that I have made before using Cheap Lazy Vegan's recipe, which I'll link below. Next, I made the mung bean sprout stir fry. I have an affinity for bean sprouts, so this dish was definitely a hit for me. The sauce is sweet yet earthy from the bean sprouts and hearty from the noodles. After this, I made the fermented soybean stew with zucchini, potato, tofu, and jalapenos. I added a touch of chili oil on top and ate it with rice. It was the perfect meal to eat on these really cold winter days. For the final main dish, I tackled tteokbokki. The Korean vegan has a recipe that is influenced by an Italian dish, and I also made a version that is closer to the traditional recipes I found online. I had to make the rice cakes from scratch since I wasn't able to find any frozen at my local stores. I used a recipe that I found online that worked really great, but it's pretty time consuming and probably not worth the effort if you can find them at a store near you. I'll link the recipe below still if you have time and are looking to make them yourself. For the Korean vegan's recipe, she used zucchini, carrot, tomatoes, and cabbage in her sauce. This dish wasn't bad, but not something I'll probably make again, just because I don't really like zucchini that much. I combined a few different recipes I found online. I first marinated some tofu that I cut into triangles with rice vinegar, soy sauce, mushroom soy sauce, and kelp powder. Then I fried them in a little sesame oil to make them crispy. These are going to be acting as a fish cake replacement. And then added a mix of gochujang, gochugaru, and sugar. I should have reduced this a little bit more before adding the rice cakes, green onions, and fish cakes, but it still turned out really delicious. Lastly, I made pocky sticks. This is one of the few foods I missed after going vegan and was super excited to try out this recipe. Luckily for me, they turned out amazing. She uses a shortbread recipe rolled out into sticks. I was trying to get super thin sticks, but then ended up just making them a little bit bigger since it took about an hour to do. It's better that they were bigger though, because the smaller ones are super fragile and ended up breaking when I went to drizzle on the melted chocolate. Afterwards, they're finished with some sea salt and left to dry. They may not look exactly like pocky sticks, but I think they're cute in their own way and they taste incredible. I would definitely recommend making these. I really enjoyed trying out these recipes from the Korean Vegan Cookbook, and if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and I'll see you in the next video.